This is the Janine Bolon Show.
Hello, welcome to the Janine Bolon Show, and I have with me today Tom Gay. And who is this guy? Well, let me explain something to you. You know how you run into entrepreneurs who have been in the business so long that what is brain dead easy to us is totally new, transformative for you? Well, that's one of the things that I really liked about what Tom has to offer. He has a software package that as soon as I saw it, I knew it was something I wanted. It's called Engage Pro. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but it fits right in perfectly with this crazy book that I wrote, which is The Thriving Solopreneur: How to Nurture Your Business in 4 Hours a Week. We've talked about this. You've heard me talk about this so much, but remember, it's 1 hour a week of prospecting, 1 hour a week of follow-up, 1 hour a week of connecting with people, and 1 hour a week of training yourself in something that you don't know. And you know that to be an entrepreneur, you need to be doing this. Otherwise, you won't get the lead gen that you need. And we want to keep you viable. We want to keep you profitable, and we want constant contacts coming in through your sales funnel. So Tom, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Janine. It's a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you.
And it's so true. We only knew each other. We only started knowing each other 2 weeks ago when it was a referral, when I had a friend by the name of Liz Hill say, you need to get to know Tom Gay. And as soon as I met him and I looked at his software package, I was like, oh, because as soon as I implemented his software package, which was a one-time fee, by the way, as soon as I started implementing it and working through the processes, I started with 5 people. In the course of that, one of my warm leads converted to 6K. They actually bought a 6K package. And I had 2 more buy a $37 a month subscription, that a program I run for writers. And I had a third one give me a referral. And one of the things that Tom mentions is the referral process. So go ahead, talk to us a little bit about Engage Pro and what it does for people.
Well, the reality is we know that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing magic about that. There's been a lot written about it over the years, and there's all kinds of formula, and doing it versus reading about it are two different things. So years ago, I went off into my own consulting practice and I knew what to do. So I applied it. And in 18 months, I had 31 monthly subscribing paying clients and leaped into a 6-figure income. Somebody came along and said, wow, why don't we turn what you did into a software tool? And that birthed the predecessor company to my current one, Engage Pro. You may recall, some of your viewers may recall, a firm called refer.com.
Oh, yes.
Well, I started that about 2013, grew it to millions of subscribers, sold it. It's gone off into a bunch of other companies now. And a few years later, I said, there's a need to do a better version of what we did then. And that led to Engage Pro. And it's all about teaching people how to do a simple process of keeping in touch, building relationships, turning relationships into trust, and then teaching the people who have that trust how to introduce you to the people they know. And that just is, it's turned the business lives around of all kinds of professionals. It's designed for professional service providers and small and medium-sized business owners. And anywhere where trust is part of the growth process or buying process, Engage Pro is a tool that can help.
And one of the things I always do before I bring out anything is I always test drive it myself. I make sure that it says, it does everything it says, and it does. I was shocked after the first week of using it. It is intuitive. And so stay tuned to the Janine Bolon Show. I'll be running in my Open Friday Coffee, which you guys know you can show up to at any time. Open Friday Coffee starts again in July 12th. And I will be running a very short PowerPoint presentation on this is how you use Engage Pro. This is what it looks like. It totally follows the systems that I lay out in my book, and you're not having to use Google Sheets and then using Google Contacts. Remember, I was teaching you how to do all this stuff for free. So you got used to doing this sort of sales process. Engage Pro has it all together. Plus, talk to us a little bit. What made you think to incorporate AI so it grabs articles that are in alignment with the people and the hobbies they were talking about. I'm serious. I used it on 2 emails, and one guy was the guy that gave me the referral from that, just from that. So talk to us a little bit about that feature. That is amazing.
Well, the interesting thing about the why is we all know that people want to talk about the things that they care about, the things they're interested in. You know, when I make a phone call to someone, if I show that I'm interested in who they are, where they come from, what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what their kids are doing, where they went to school, where they went on vacation, how their golf game is going, the more I learn about them and communicate with them about their stuff, the faster the bridge of trust gets built, the faster the barricades come down, because I become more relevant and relational. And when that barricade comes down, or as I like to say, when the bridge of trust gets built, now we can move into discovering whether or not there's areas we can help each other.
And I
Uh,
love it. I love it so much because you have not only the articles that you can send based on areas of special interest, and you have fabulous ways of handling that with the AI, but it's super easy to use. And you also have it set up to it goes to the email. But the other thing that was kind of like a feature that I just test drove it just to see what it was like was in your follow-up system, you have phone, text, email, and I forget the fourth one right now off the top of my head. What was the fourth one?
well, personal notes.
Personal note, yeah, direct mail, because this was the shocker. He's with Send Out Cards. Now, anybody who has listened to my show knows I've been with Send Out Cards since 2015, and I absolutely swear by Send Out Cards. And it was an added bonus to have Engage Pro go, oh, and don't forget, you may want to send a card. I'm like, oh my gosh, direct mail, right? Because I've been screaming about direct mail for the last 4 years. And so, talk to us a little bit about how you slid Send Out Cards in there too.
Well, we do put the link. You can put your link to your Send Out Cards account in the Engage Pro system. Now, Sendout doesn't allow us to do an interface, an
Right.
API, as we techies would call it. But you can conveniently, if they're in your Sendout Cards database, you can easily click right in, log in, bam, send out the card.
Mhm.
And the premise of all those different, we call them touch types. Now, it's get in touch. Let's make it clear to keep the physical side of this out, because we don't want the sensitivities raised. Here's the purpose is show up in different ways in the places where people show up. You're building what I have an acronym for this. You're building what's called TOMA, TOMA. It's not named after me. TOMA, top of mind awareness. You're causing the reticular activator in the minds of the people you're building relationships with to always be thinking of you. When something comes up that they know you would be interested in, like a referral, Toma comes because you've been there, relationally speaking, in the places where they're visible and active. And that just raises the whole visibility flow back towards you.
And so, if you haven't guessed, I was so excited by Engage Pro that I immediately did a testimonial on Tom's Alignable group. I was like, this is really great. This is what happened. It works. I continue to use it. But, let's talk a little bit about Tom Gay and this guy that managed to figure this stuff out. You are as bad as I am as far as being a serial entrepreneur. So, do you mind sharing with us a little bit about how you came to know business quite so well?
Well, I call it a sickness.
It's so true. It's like potato chips. You just
It is. I, I haven't started as many companies as you have, Janine, but I've started a number.
Mhm.
Started my first real company after all the fooling around stuff in 1979, and sold it in 1989 to a New York Stock Exchange company, We took it from startup to 350 team members and 80 million in revenue. And it went on to do amazing things. I left 2 years later because somebody came to me with a problem and said, could we do something in solving this problem? Which
That's
is,
catnip to an entrepreneur.
oh gosh, it is. It really is. So in 1990, I started my second company. It was called Vista Information Solutions. And I'll play the game with you. Janine, how would you like to wake up tomorrow morning and see in the front page of the newspaper that something happened such that your single biggest investment that you've ever made is now worthless?
Oh, yes, we'd like to avoid that at all costs.
If you could have spent $35 before you bought your current home to tell you whether anything could possibly affect its value, its insurability, its saleability, the environmental conditions that may be buried under the ground, the earthquake, the flood, the brush fire, the land subsidence, would you have spent that money to avoid the risk of that happening?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, that became Vista Information. We built that over 10 years, sold it to another NYSE company, had 800 team members at the time. And we had taken it public. I was leading a NASDAQ company then. And what we took was a big problem for the insurance and real estate industry and turned it into a simple solution that for a few dollars you could get an answer in a few moments. And that's sort of been the way I've looked at life. Somebody comes to me, and this is a model for all the entrepreneurs out there. This is a model. It's built many companies for me. Well, I wish I said I could come up with what one of my teammates did it years ago. If someone comes to you with a problem and more than two people have that problem, it needs a system to solve it. If enough people have it, your system now has a market to serve. And from there, you can go out and build a company around that. Now, I'll give you an example. In January of last year, a friend of mine came to me and said, Tom, I've got a problem. You're the tech guy, fix this. He said, I go to all these Zoom meetings because we're now a Zoomified culture with, COVID and the post-virtual networking setting. I download the save chat and I can't use that piece of information I download because it's so awful. It's so difficult. Would you please fix this? Well, a couple months later, we had a prototype. We released it, and that gave birth to a tool called ChatBridge Connect. And in 2 clicks, it converts the entire stream of downloaded saved chats into an alphabetized list of the people who attended the meeting, posted into the chat stream. All their links that they posted are there in live. All their comments are there live. If they posted 20 times, it's all listed under them instead of spread across 1,000 chats. And in 2 clicks, it converts the entire stream and turns that saved chat into a follow-up database and a prospect finder and all the kinds of tools that you might want to be able to turn that hour you spent networking into something where you can get some results. And it was the problem, solution, market. And now ChatBridge has gone off into global growth, and people everywhere use it just because it does something that nothing else does. Even AI doesn't make it work because sure, you can do a lot with AI, but now it's time to follow up. And how do you follow up?
And just
find
so
out
you
what.
guys, yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, no, well, it's just it's crazy. It's one of those things that if you spend $200 on something that would take every hour you spend networking, the hundreds of saved Zoom chats you have sitting doing nothing on your computer and can go in and find one opportunity in each one of them, would it be worth it? And that's what we've unleashed with find a problem that lots of people have, build a solution, make it efficient. Everybody wins.
And that's exactly what I did when I found out ChatBridge was available because I was chatting with Tom on a Friday call and he was walking through Engage Pro and then he mentioned ChatBridge. I got very excited because you could connect the two and I couldn't beat the price point. Immediately, it saved me so much money because he's right. I immediately went into my saved chats of Zoom and I picked the biggest, gnarliest, ugliest chats I could find. And I put it through ChatBridge and it came out as beautiful data. And the parts it couldn't make as data, let me tell you, this was gnarly. This was gross chat that we had. I just was able to delete the stuff it couldn't quite categorize, but yet I had usable content on 58 new people that I will be engaged with via email after the Independence Day holiday weekend. So just wanted to let you know it's viable and it's one of those products that you're right, it saves you so much time. So thank you for bringing that up. It is a model. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it is. And the wonderful thing is I get to make lots of friends along the way because relationships matter. I get to support causes because in many cases I share these tools with causes to help them meet their purpose and serve the audiences or the mission that they're on. And to me, that's all part of where I am at this stage in my life and career.
And one more thing before you go, because I know we have a limited amount of time, but I did want to talk a little bit about Alignable. So my folks on the Janine Bolon Show, they know that in 2020 through 2022, my team and I kept excellent statistics on what we were getting with Alignable. And we ended up dropping that as a networking platform because it was not viable. We were not getting good results. I spent a lot of money with my team doing follow up and email sequencing, and it just wasn't working. We weren't getting the numbers we needed. And so we went ahead and started focusing on LinkedIn. Well, now Alignable is a totally different story. I am getting traction on Alignable. I'm able to find people who are my ideal prospects on Alignable, and they are reaching out to me in a much faster way than even LinkedIn. And so I started doing some ads on Alignable, and that's when I run into you and I find out, oh, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'm working with Alignable. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, yes, Alignable has evolved enormously.
Mhm.
And I've been, loosely connected with them as a user, a member,
Mhm.
when they first formed, and sort of quickly put them aside because they didn't have it figured out. Well,
That's a nice way of saying it. It's true.
it is. Well, it's interesting. About 2 years ago, I started looking again, and I saw it had changed dramatically.
Mhm.
And and then in November of just this past year, I put on a Friday workshop on Engage Pro, and I put it on inside of Alignable to a group where I was a guest. And one of the co-founders of Alignable attended it. To my surprise, he was there and saw my training, Engage Pro training specifically. It was a Friday. On Tuesday, I had a proposal to bring Engage Pro into Alignable as what they call a community partner. It basically says invite people into your community group and you can sell your product legitimately inside of Alignable. It's like a sponsorship. That was January of this year that we launched. In the 6 months, it's just now 6 months, we've had over 2,500 people join our community group. I've had over 200 testimonials come in for what it is we do. And we're adding about, I now have a second group in Alignable, but we're now adding 500 to 600 people a month who are coming into, think of it as the top of the funnel. It's not really a funnel, but think of it that way. And they're coming in because the number one challenge that people face everywhere, especially, the Alignable membership, is how do I get more business?
Mm-hmm.
How can I overcome the noise in the marketplace, the challenge of finding a qualified prospect, and get them into a flow in which I can qualify them and convert them possibly into a business sale. And we solve that problem, or we help solve the problem. There's other ways to address it, but we solve the problem. I advocate that it's time for the pendulum to swing back to the middle in respect to personal relationships, trust, communications, making friendships that turn into business. It's time to move from strictly this digital overload back to where people are in touch with people. And that's playing out well with Alignable, with the Alignable community. So I'm very excited about where we are and to helping more people get value out of Alignable, and also to growing my business with them and helping them.
And so thank you everyone for listening to the Janine Bolon Show today. And I know it's me very excited about Engage Pro. I just wanted to let you know I'm still using it. And I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I'm sorry, when I have a software package that makes that big a difference in what I am doing, and it helps me get over a log jam that I had in my own business, I want to promote it. So Tom, anything else you want to share with the entrepreneurs in the audience before we go?
Well, one thing I will, and that is, I love your 4 hours a week work plan. I absolutely love it. And the thing I advocate about Engage Pro is it's a 1 hour a week work plan to use it. It's like we were on each other's shoulder, looking at what we were both advocating.
Yeah.
You can free yourself of an awful lot of distraction by focusing 1 hour a week on doing the kinds of things. And we're one of the 1 hours that you advocate. So I just want to
Oh
put that
yeah. Oh yeah.
in
Definitely.
yeah. So there's so much that we synchronize on that I'm learning still about all the things that you do, that I just had to say that you get it. And I'm just so pleased to have a relationship with you.
Thank you so much. And the thing that I would like folks to walk away with is, when you get a bunch of entrepreneurs in the room, it may look like they're all doing very drastically different things, but the successful ones, the ones that are actually able to support their families with the business, are the ones that have figured out the system that brings in the revenue. They have their lead generation put together. They know who their ideal prospect is, and they are jealously guarding their time. And that is something that Tom has given back to me, is hours of time. So thank you, Tom. I
Oh,
appreciate you.
well, thank you, Janine. It's a pleasure to be associated with you.
Yep. And I am going to meet you guys on Alignable in the show notes below. You will see where Tom is and his group. And I highly recommend that you join his free Friday webinars, where he walks you through how Engage Pro can assist you. Talk to you later. And thank you so much, Tom, for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Janine Bolon Show.